All right, Shalom to the elect of Israel. I'm going to start by giving all the praises, honor, and glory to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, ever well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect of Israel. And this lesson is going to be titled, You Can't Care Too Much. And what I mean by that, right? Or what we mean by that, because the brothers, feel the same way, is that, with the stuff in this world, you can't care about it too much, man. Because ultimately all this shit is going to pass away. All this shit is eventually going to pass away. You see? So you can't let all of this stuff, take too much of a hold on you, It's, this stuff is temporal. People are going to lose a lot of things. A lot of things are going to get destroyed. Okay? People are going to lose a lot of things. And they're going to lose in general, So, we in our day-to-day lives and all of that stuff, just, you got to deal with stuff, as it is. Not saying, just forget about all your responsibilities. No. But you can't, you shouldn't overly care too much to the point to where, things of this world like affect you as if you lose it. The world is crashing down around you, Let me first get this. This is one I was thinking about. It's the book of 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15. It says, Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Okay? So, those that, love the things of this world, the love of the Father is in them. Verse 16, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Now let me get this, if I get this in the Word of Bible. I'm going to make this lesson quick, because I'm thinking about to shut off. 1 John chapter 2, verse 16 in the NLT. For the world offers only a craving of physical pleasure. And it's the thing, that passes away too. The physical pleasure you get in this world, it passes away. Eventually it passes away. It doesn't last forever. It says a craving for everything we see, and the scriptures say that the eye is not satisfied with seeing. It says in pride in our achievements and possessions. People, walk around when they did stuff not knowing that the stuff and they don't even give the Lord, the thanks and praise and glory for it. They act as if it was off of their own complete strength. When really it wasn't. It says these are not from the Father, but are from this world. See? So these things are not of Yahweh Bahashem and Yahweh Shai. People are all into, their treasures on earth. All into these earthly riches and, all of that stuff is going to pass away, man. All of that stuff is going to pass the hell away. You see, people have these jobs and things, these high-class jobs, these high-paying jobs and all that, All of that stuff, man, eventually one day is going to stop. Let me get into scripture real quick. Book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, starting at verse 40. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. So when all hell breaks loose, right, Jacob's trouble happens, the scriptures say we're supposed to be like pilgrims, We're supposed to be on the move. Now, if you're attached to stuff, how the hell are you going to be on the move? When you're on the move, you're going to have to forget about things, you see? You're going to have to forget about, possessions you left behind. And, you're going to have to be on the move, man. Continuing on, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away. And he that buyeth, as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise, as he that hath no profit by it. And he that buildeth, as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth, it says, as if he should not reap. So also he that planteth the vineyard, as he that shall not gather the grapes. They that marry, as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not, as widowers. Why? And therefore, they that labor, labor in vain. All these people, working up to achieve themselves something in this world, they don't understand that eventually all this stuff is going to get destroyed. All of it, This stuff is going to get destroyed, man. And if you're of the elect, you're going to end up leaving your possessions behind anyhow. Okay, because when Yahushua comes, you're not taking nothing of this world with you. You're not taking your watch. You're not taking your job, your car. You're not taking your clothing. None of that. Not even this flesh you currently have. All of this stuff is going to get left behind. You see? That's why Apostle Paul said, let me get this real quick. It says the book of 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 8. Right? It says, let me get this in the NLT actually. If you can learn to live like this, and actually, understand, you can actually learn to live like this, hey, you man, I'll say one, you'll be more thankful and appreciative to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, and you'll really recognize the small things. This is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 8. And having food and raiment, and having, as it says, so if we have enough food and clothing, right, so let us be there with content. Content meaning satisfied. Be satisfied with just having, your daily bread. Be satisfied with just having, enough to get by. Be satisfied just having enough, have your bills paid, to get some food. That's good. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be filthy rich, having money for excess, because the next verse says this, verse 9, but they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. NLT, but people who long to be rich fall into temptation and are trapped by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. See? So, and people that's like that, they're all caught up in this world, man. You see? Look, you're gonna have to be willing to get rid of it. You're gonna be willing to leave everything behind, especially when this hour of temptation comes, man. You see? Hey, like that movie said, leave the world behind. You're gonna have to really be ready to leave this world behind, man. Start now. Meaning, start now is in, don't be so caught up into it. Don't let this world get to the point to where it's, overtaking you, overwhelming you, like, you all just worried about everything. Because Yahweh Shai talked about that. It's the book of Matthew chapter 6 and verse, I'm going to get verse 33. It says in the NLT, seek the kingdom of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai above all else, and live righteously. So basically this is saying, put the Lord first. It says that he will give you everything you need. We're going to supply you with everything you need if you put him first. Verse 34, so don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. Today's trouble is enough for the day. You got, man, you personally, you got all types of trouble in this world, right? All types of stuff, man. All types of trouble, all types of, challenges you face personally day to day, right? Yahushua is saying, don't worry about it, Not saying, not to just forget, you might have some bills, you still got to pay, but don't worry about it. You can keep it in the back of your mind, but like saying, don't worry about it, man. Okay? And the thing is, ultimately, man, once again, all this stuff is going to get destroyed, All this stuff around us is eventually going to get destroyed. So why put your heart and soul into this? Why put your heart and soul into this world? Nothing here to go back to, Of course, stuff stresses us out, but don't let it stress you out too much. That's the thing. You can't care too much, man. Because one thing I learned, especially from this guy named Steph is Cold, This was regarding women, and I mean it still goes with the same thing. You know, women, can be involved in this. You can't care too much. When you care too much, then you start affecting yourself badly. See, for example, you care about a woman too much, then she does something wrong, or does something you don't like, or say she cheats on you, whatever. And then you all heartbroken. Meanwhile, she's fine. She's doing her thing. But you're heartbroken because you care too much. See, so liken it to with this, what we're talking about here. These people in this society, when this thing crashes, because these people don't understand that all hell is about to break loose. Majority of people don't get it. So when this place falls, and these people are so attached to this place, you see them building up their houses, trying to get the best car, the best clothes, live the best life. So when this place crashes, they're not going to be able to really take that, man. See? Whereas we were going to be in the right mind frame for it. We're going to be in the right mind frame. See? You really can't care too much, man. You got to handle what you handle with. Deal with what you got to deal with. Regard as far as responsibilities, bills. But don't let it don't let that, overwhelm you, man. Meaning, don't let it get on your mind, stay on your mind too much. That's all these people is, that's how they live, That's how they live, man. All right. So, another thing too, with women. Because women is a part of this too. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. I'll start at verse 29. It says, "But let me say this, dear brothers and sisters, the time that remains is very short. So from now on, those with wives should not focus only on their marriage." See? Those are wives, you can have that, all right? But why did Apostle Paul say this? Right? Verse 32, "I want you to be free from the concerns of this life." See that? Free from the concerns of this life. An unmarried man can spend his time doing the Lord's work and thinking how to please him. If time is short, why wouldn't you want to do the Lord's work? See? If you don't have a woman, you could spend more time doing the things that please the Lord. Because your woman, you don't want to take everything up from you. See, but even with a woman, you can't care too much. You can't put her over the Lord. A woman is bound to leave you. I ain't gonna make this about women, but that's what, that's just the truth. See, you can't let things, take you off of your path, man. When it's truth, whatever it is, meaning you can't let things get in the way. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2. I'm gonna read verses 3 and 4, and then end it out. 2 Timothy 2 and 3 and 4 says, "Endure suffering along with me as a good soldier of Hamashiach Yahushua." All the hell and tribulations and challenges and adversity you face, you gotta endure it as a good soldier of Yahushua. Verse 4. It says, "Soldiers don't get tied up in the affairs of civilian life, but they cannot please the officer who enlisted them." KJV. "No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life." And look at that word, affairs. Affairs. It says prosecution of any affair, business, occupation. The stuff you got going on. The stuff of this world. All right. It says that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. Basically saying, you're not caught up with the, things you're not caught up with the things of this world. That's basically what it's saying. But that's how we gotta be. All right, you could do stuff you like, but ultimately, you can't care too much about this place because it's falling, man. It's falling, it's going away. Don't let this stuff, trouble you, man. Because this stuff is about to go any day now. So, hey, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Akakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, never well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. Shalom to the elect.